She walked past luxury cars, past wealthy men who begged for her hand, and chose instead a taxi driver. On her wedding day, the city gasped. Her name was Zara, and she was the kind of woman whose presence turned heads without effort. Not because she tried, but because she carried herself like she knew exactly who she was. Men with money fought for her attention. Politicians sent flowers. Entrepreneurs invited her to dinners. Everyone expected her to marry into wealth, because that's what beautiful women in the city were supposed to do. But Zara had other plans. The first time people saw her with Kamal, the taxi driver, the whispers began. It must be a fling. Maybe she lost a bet. She can't be serious. But she was. While others mocked his torn seats and second-hand shirts, she sat beside him in the front seat, laughing at jokes that weren't even that funny. Her friends tried to stop her. "Zara, you can't throw your life away like this," one said. Another scoffed, "Love won't pay the bills." But Zara smiled quietly and answered, "You'll understand one day." When she announced the wedding, the city turned upside down. People swore she had gone mad. Some even skipped the ceremony out of shame for her. The wedding hall wasn't filled with glamour, no golden chandeliers or imported wine. Instead, plastic chairs, loud music from borrowed speakers, and plates of rice and stew. But Zara? She was glowing. She wore a simple dress, nothing like the designer gowns her suitors had promised her. Her veil was thin, her jewelry modest. And beside her stood Kamal, looking nervous in his faded suit. Still, he held her hand firmly, as if daring the world to challenge their love. The whispers didn't stop. Some women shook their heads. "She's wasting herself." Others murmured, "This is poverty waiting to happen." But the strangest part? Kamal said very little. He smiled, thanked people politely, but behind his eyes was something no one noticed, a calmness, almost like a man laughing at a joke only he understood. The wedding ended, and life went on. Zara now shared a one-room apartment with him, far from the luxury she was used to. She washed clothes by hand, ate bread and beans at night, and even joined him sometimes on his taxi rounds. People thought the fire in her would die, that one day she'd wake up, regret everything, and run back to the men who once begged for her love. But Zara didn't waver. She looked at Kamal as if he was more than a man in a driver's seat. She trusted him completely. What she didn't know, what no one in that city knew, was that Kamal was not who he seemed. The driver's cap was only a mask, and the day he removed it, everything Zara believed about love, wealth, and sacrifice would be shaken. The secret was coming. At first, life with Kamal seemed ordinary. He woke early, left for the taxi park, and returned late, smelling of dust and fuel. Zara settled into the rhythm, cooking, cleaning, and learning to live without luxury. She wasn't complaining, but her friends were watching, waiting for cracks. "Zara, how long will this last?" one asked, sipping chilled juice in a cafe. "Soon, you'll get tired. Taxi drivers don't become kings." But Zara only smiled. "Who told you I married him for riches?" Her friends rolled their eyes, convinced she was blind. Yet, behind Kamal's quiet face, something strange was happening. Every night, before bed, Zara noticed him scribbling in a small leather notebook. Not numbers from passengers, not routes of the city, but figures that looked like business accounts. Sometimes, his phone buzzed, and he stepped outside to take the calls in hushed tones. "Who keeps calling you at midnight?" she asked one evening. "Work things," he replied simply. "Don't worry about it." She didn't press further. Still, she noticed little things. The way he never panicked about money, even when fares were low. How he slipped extra cash into her purse without explaining where it came from. Or how, sometimes, men in suits stopped by the taxi stand just to greet him respectfully before driving off in their sleek cars. One night, after a long day, Zara couldn't resist asking, "Kamal, are you hiding something from me?" He chuckled softly. "If I am, it's only because the time hasn't come for you to know." His words stayed with her. The real shift came one rainy evening. Zara had joined him on his rounds, sitting quietly in the front seat while he drove through the city. Suddenly, a sleek black car pulled in front of them. Out stepped two men in tailored suits. They weren't ordinary men. Their presence alone commanded respect. "Sir, One said, bowing slightly, "The board is waiting. Will you attend tomorrow's meeting?" Zara blinked in shock. Board? Meeting? Why were these powerful-looking men addressing her husband like a leader? Kamal gave a small nod. "I'll be there. Tell them not to worry." When the men left, Zara turned to him, stunned. "What was that? Why did they call you, sir?" Kamal tightened his grip on the steering wheel. "Zara, you'll soon understand. Just trust me." That night, she barely slept. The puzzle pieces didn't fit. Her taxi driver husband was being treated like a man of authority. Men in suits bowed to him. He kept a secret notebook. He had money he never explained. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, her heart racing. For the first time since her marriage, doubt crept in. Who really was Kamal? And more importantly, why was he pretending to be poor? The morning of the board meeting, Kamal woke earlier than usual. Zara, still restless from the night before, watched him quietly as he dressed. But this time, he did not wear his faded shirt and taxi driver's jacket. Instead, he opened a suitcase she had never seen before, pulling out a dark tailored suit, polished shoes, and a watch that gleamed like sunlight on water. Zara sat up, her heart pounding. "Kamal, what is happening?" He turned, adjusting his tie with calm hands. "Today, you'll see the truth. But promise me, whatever you hear, whatever you see, don't run away. Just stay by my side." Confused, but too shaken to argue, she nodded. An hour later, a black SUV stopped in front of their small apartment. A driver stepped out, opening the door for Kamal as though he were royalty. Zara followed, her mind spinning, her fingers clutching her bag tightly. The car whisked them to the tallest building in the city. The moment they entered, security guards straightened, staff bowed, and whispers filled the air. Zara could feel eyes on them, eyes full of respect and awe, not for her, but for her husband. In the grand conference hall, men and women in sharp suits rose to their feet. "Good morning, Chairman," they chorused. Zara froze. "Chairman?" Kamal smiled faintly, guiding her to a seat at the head of the long polished table. He rested a reassuring hand on hers. "Zara," he said softly, but firmly enough for the entire room to hear, "I am not just a taxi driver. I own the largest transport company in this country. Every car, every route, every driver, they work under me." Her mouth parted in shock. You're the owner?" "Yes," he said. "I disguised myself because I wanted to find a woman who would love me without my wealth. Too many chased after my money. I wanted someone whose heart was true. That's why I chose you." The board members nodded, their eyes full of respect. Zara sat frozen, her chest rising and falling with heavy breaths. She thought of the days she defended him, the laughter of her friends, the whispers of neighbors. She thought of how she had chosen him, against everyone's warnings. And now, here she was, married not to a poor taxi driver, but to a billionaire in disguise. Tears welled in her eyes, not from anger, but from overwhelming relief. "You tested me," she whispered. "And I passed." Kamal smiled, lifting her hand to his lips. "You did more than pass. You became my strength. And now, you'll be my queen." The room erupted in applause. Zara, trembling with a mix of pride and disbelief, realized the truth. Love had led her into wealth she never asked for. But more importantly, it had led her into the arms of a man who had chosen her above the world. Her story was no longer one of pity. It had become the story of a woman who married a taxi driver, only to discover he was a billionaire all along. And this? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.